The first thing that we would do is we would look at your drawings and see what's going to be necessary and decide whether the Party Wall Act applies at all. Yeah? Then we would arrange to do a land search of the adjoining owner's property. We would then produce notices and serve the notices. If next door then consent, that's the end of the procedure. Yeah? We would always recommend, even if they consent, getting the schedule of condition done, because that will still protect you. Now, if they dissent and appoint a surveyor, we will then liaise with their surveyors to produce a party wall award. We would still do the schedule of condition, yeah, and we would still produce the party wall award at the end of it. Now, there are things you can do to try and maximise your chances of having a positive response in getting a consent. Yeah? I would never really recommend serving these notices by post out of the blue on the next door neighbour, because if you do that, then the chances are they're going to ignore them, which creates a dissent, or they're just going to dissent. So what I prefer to do is speak to the building owners, yourselves, who are doing the work, prepare all the notices, put them together with the relevant drawings and the letters and create a little package, and then say to the building owners, you take this round to your next door neighbour, make a little bit of physical contact, talk to them, explain to them what you're doing. Never let this come as a bolt out of the blue, and then you've got a far better chance of getting a positive response out of it. If you're dealing with construction works, at Quatrefoils Surveyors we can offer you a fairly inclusive package which goes right the way through from the preparation of your drawings through to seeing the building works through and right to the end. So we would produce your drawings for you, we would get your planning permission, your building regulations consent, and then we can go through to preparing a detailed specification of work. So that covers everything from the construction of the walls, the windows, what light sockets you put on, what floor finish you want to put into your building, and then we'll tender that out to contractors to get you the best price back in. And we would generally use contractors that we have used before and we are happy with their performance, but you can obviously specify your own contractors as well. Once the works are on site, we can act as the contract administrator to supervise the works. So we'll keep an eye on it. If there's any technical queries, the contractors can ask us. And we'll also do certificates for payment at stages throughout the job. We'll work out what the contractor is due, looking back at the specification, and we'll issue a certificate for yourself and you'll pay it. We'll usually tie the contractor and yourself up in a minor works contract, which sets out the relationship between yourself and the builder. And, you know, so that if anything goes wrong, there are contractual methods for sort of dealing with it. Most of these contracts mean that the contractor has a retention put on him. So each time we issue a payment, there might be a 5 or a 10% retention held, and that's not released until the end of the job. So you never pay the contractor monies up front. So that obviates any risk of him going bankrupt, for example, which would be rare, but over the years it has happened. At the end of the job, we then look at it. We'd issue a practical completion certificate once you were happy with it all, deal with any snagging items to ensure that you're handed over with a property that meets your expectations at the end of the job.